there! My name is JD, and welcome back to another episode of Weekly Update Wednesdays. Weekly Update Wednesdays is the show where I get to update you, the viewer, with what's been going on in the studio, what's coming up on our YouTube channel, and I also get to answer a bunch of your questions. So if you do have any questions for next week's episode, leave them down in the comments below, okay? So if you're new here, do take a minute to click on subscribe. Remember to click on the notification bell so that you're going to be notified every time we release a new video. Firstly, I want to say a big shout out and thank you to all our patrons as usual. Oh, by the way, the patron special offer is still running. We're extending it right now to 14th of May. And those of you who are going to sign up as direct access and VIP access patrons are going to be getting this CD, limited edition copy of Project ER's album, okay? So hurry up, patron special offer until 14th of May. Okay, for those of you who are living here in Malaysia, you would obviously be aware that the government has announced that the country has moved into the conditional movement control order phase. Basically, what the CMCO is a reopening of the economy. So most businesses are allowed to reopen, albeit with strict SOPs and strict practices that are going to be in place. And likewise, the studio is actually open again. And in fact, we've had our very first session earlier today. So if you want to get in touch, if you want to book a session, get in touch with me. We are open for business again, but do bear in mind that we're gonna have to adapt. There's gonna be a lot of changes to ways that we're gonna have to work. We're gonna have to really practice our social distancing. Clients who are coming in, musicians who are gonna be coming into the studio, we're gonna have to undergo firstly like temperature checks. Everyone's coming in. We need to wear our face masks and we need to practice our social distancing when we are here in the studio. Alright, okay. So it's all the good news. What's coming up for this Friday's episode of MixStream is gonna be something a little bit special. It's a brand new song. It's a duet by Velvet and Rich. So those of you who know, both of them are a husband and wife couple. Rich, of course, is from the band Estranged. I've worked with Estranged for many years now. He's a very good friend of mine and a good friend of the studio. So he and his wife Velvet have just written and recorded a brand new song titled Dunia Baru, and I will be mixing it on this week's episode of MixStream. So you don't want to miss out on that. Tune in this channel on this coming Friday. What date would that be? This coming Friday at 9 p.m. Okay, let's head into the question and answer sessions. Question 1. Hi, I've just started to dabble in recording and mixing. If you want to record a vocal and an acoustic guitar at the same time, how do I do it? I have a microphone to connect to a mixer, and my acoustic guitar has got a pickup. Alright, so there are a couple of ways to look at this question. If you are recording your vocal and playing your acoustic guitar at the same time, now the number one thing, issue or obstacle that you are going to face is, of course, that of bleed. Now, you can't really defy the laws of physics. You can't, suddenly change or define or change the way sound waves behave. So if you're singing and you're recording your guitar at the same time, there's no way. The microphone is definitely going to pick up some of the guitar, right? Some of the acoustic guitar is gonna be inside the microphone captured. So how do you go about it, right? Now, honestly, if you were to ask me, for me, there's nothing as raw or as real or as organic as just one vocal and one acoustic guitar, or it could be a piano, right? But basically one vocal and one single instrument. You know, any good song or any great performance can really be distilled, can be boiled down into this. You know, just one instrument and one vocal. You could argue, right, that it could be just a cappella as well. You don't really need an instrument. But let's just take in this example, in this case, okay, a vocal and an acoustic guitar. All right, so in all honesty, as I said, this is the most as real as it gets, right? Having you sing and play the guitar at the same time. Why do you want to go to the effort or to all the trouble and stress of stressing out trying to get, the separation between the guitar and the vocal? Why not capture all of it together in one take? I would just go with that one single performance and sort of live with the bleed, live with that leakage of the acoustic guitar into the vocal mic. That's part and parcel of how your performance sounds like in real life anyway. Try and find the best optimal position for the microphone so that it captures the voice as best as possible. Yes, you will have a little bit of leakage of the acoustic guitar in the vocal mic, but I really wouldn't worry about it. Get the best vocal capture that you have. Do a test recording, check it out and see. Flip the phase, right, and see whether the tone of the acoustic guitar gets affected in a bad way or not. But if it sounds fine, if it sounds great, then go ahead and just record it in one take. A little bit of bleed, a little bit of that, leakage into the vocal microphone never did anyone any harm. So go ahead and try it. If you want to take it to the next level, so to speak, there's a method to it. And here's how I would do it. First of all, number one, I would record a scratch track, a guide track lah, okay? Alright, so of you singing and playing the acoustic guitar at the same time. Record that entire performance and use it as a scratch track, a guide track, so to speak. Secondly, you create another track and you just record your acoustic guitar on top of that. You can pretty much guess where I'm going next, right? Next thing you do is you mute that original scratch track, so you only have that acoustic guitar track where you just recorded, and then you record your vocal on top of that. And what you get, your end result is, voila, presto, you've gotten your vocal and your guitar recorded separately without the leakage between them. And you can of course take this to the whole another level. You can record another track of acoustic on top and layer it, and you can also add more vocals on top of that. But you get the idea, right? So to sum it all up, you start with a scratch, a guide track first, record an acoustic guitar on top, then you mute the guide track, record your vocal on top of the guitar track you just did, and that's how you do it. Hope that helps. Try it out. Let me know how it works for you, okay? In fact, I'll probably do another video where I'll show you exactly how I would record a vocal and an acoustic guitar using the steps and the methods which I just outlined earlier. Hopefully it helps, so stay tuned, for a future video on this topic. Question 2. I produced a piece of music recently and I've written the lyrics, but I'm having a bit of difficulty in figuring out the melody. What can I do? Alright, this question actually comes from one of our MixStream Academy members, and he contacted me directly and to ask for advice on this question. So to give a bit of a background, he produced this piece of music, which is essentially a beat. Pretty good sounding, by the way, and he wrote some lyrics to it, but for the life of him, he just couldn't figure out how to write a melody to work with the music. So, melody writing is not really his strong suit. So what I ended up figuring out for him was a little exercise. And so I'm just going to share with you what I shared with him. Hopefully you can also take it and apply it if you find that you have difficulty in figuring out melodies. So here's how I would go about it. You take a melody from a song that you like, a popular song maybe, right? But very importantly, it has to be fairly similar in style, similar in genre, similar in key. So for example, if you're writing something that that's in a minor key or major key, make sure that you pick a reference track that's also in a minor key or major key. Okay, so you take the melody from a popular song, similar in style, and you replace it with your lyrics. It doesn't matter if it doesn't really fit. Obviously, some of the lyrics, some of the words are probably not going to fit. Some of the phrasing is not going to fit. Some of the notes are probably going to be too long or too short. It doesn't really matter. It's just an exercise to go through. As you're playing back, right? You sing the melody, you hum the melody, then you change one or two notes. That's all. Just change one or two notes. You record your idea, right? If you have a DAW setup, you record it on it. Or even if you have a smartphone, just record it on your phone. Doesn't really matter, okay? Record your idea, play it back, and see if it sounds good. See whether you like it or not, okay? You repeat this process, and every time you make slight changes, same thing. Change one or two notes here and there, right? Record it, play it back, see whether you like it or not. As you go along, as you keep doing this, right, you make slight changes here and there to the melody. Eventually, you're going to come up with something original that you are going to like. So this exercise is going to be a bit of a slow process, but songwriting is anyway, right? It takes time, it takes discipline. Try out this exercise. It will definitely help improve your melody writing. Question 3. Some jamming studios have a drum riser installed. Some are tall, some are short, some are big, some are small. What's the purpose of a drum riser? Is it purely for visual aesthetics, or does it have a proper purpose? Maybe for absorbing sound? Okay, this question came from Facebook. So, as the name implies, a drum riser is a platform that elevates the drum kit above the surface of the floor. So, yes, to answer your question, it is for visual aesthetics. Yeah, it does look a little bit nicer, especially if you're on a stage, if you're on a high elevated stage. So, raising the drum kit on a riser, putting the drum kit on top of a riser, makes it easier to actually see the drummer, okay, from the audience perspective. But from a sonic perspective, there's actually very, very good reasons why you want to employ a drum riser, right? With a few caveats, which I'll discuss later. What the drum riser does is that it helps to decouple the drum kit from the floor. And there's two main benefits to decoupling. So decoupling has two main benefits. Number one, it reduces the vibration and transmission of low frequencies. As you know, low frequencies can travel very, very easily through solid surfaces. So it can travel through the floor, through the ceiling, through the beams of a building. And what's it going to do? It's going to bother your adjacent neighbors. So putting it up on a drum riser will help to sort of either reduce or eliminate the transmission of these low frequencies into the adjacent units around you. But secondly, a solid and well-designed drum riser also improves the drum tone. The reason why, when it's decoupled, right, the drum is allowed to resonate freely. You're gonna get the maximum resonance out of the drum shells, and this improves the drum tone. It improves the sustain of the drum kit as well. So two main benefits. You reduce the amount of noise, the low frequency noise, being transmitted, and secondly, you also improve the drum tone itself. Now, if you ask me, if noise isolation is not really an issue, so you don't have really neighbors, you are not going to be bothering anybody, people above or below you. A concrete floor is actually the best. It's my opinion anyway, because there's nothing as solid or as rigid as concrete, because of the amount of mass that it has. But of course, bear in mind, again, this is if noise isolation is not an issue. Now, it's actually very important to not only design, but to build a drum riser according to the proper specifications. Now, unfortunately, I see that in most jamming studios, most of the drum risers, aren't really built properly. So, it can actually cause more problems, and it doesn't really solve the issue of of reducing the transmissions of the low frequencies, like I mentioned, and it also affects the drum tone negatively, unfortunately, right? But I'm not an expert on this matter. For that, I recommend that you go check out the John L. Sayers Recording Studio Design Forum. I'll leave the link to that forum right here. You should be able to see it. So it is one of, if not the best studio design forum there is in the world. So I used it when I was coming up with the design and the layout for my Studio B, and the founder of the forum himself, John Sayers, was actually kind enough to come up with a layout design for the studio. So big shout out to the John L. Sayers Recording Studio Design Forum. Go and check it out. Alright, that brings us to the end of this week's episode. Thank you so much again for watching. As usual, leave your questions and comments down below, and I will get back to you in next week's episode. If you found this week's episode useful, informative, maybe I've helped you answer some of your questions, please do leave a like. Remember to subscribe. Click on the notification bell so that you will get notified when we release a new video. And if you can, do consider signing up as a patron. Before I leave you guys, remember that even though the lockdown has been lifted, remember to always wash your hands frequently, take care of personal hygiene, practice your social distancing, alright? Okay? So, I look forward to seeing you guys again in next week's episode. But don't forget, join me this Friday for this week's episode of MixStream. In the meantime, take care. I'll see you in the next one.